In our first story, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has reiterated his will to deliver on all promises he made in the run-up to the 2016 general elections. The president said pessimists and political opponents who go about doubting his resolve to deliver on those promises would be put to shame once he finishes fulfilling them. Speaking at the centenary anniversary of the Christ Apostolic Church International, President Akufo-Addo called on the church to pray for the success of his administration, without which he will not be able to deliver on his promises.
Many people doubted my resolve to deliver on the promises I made in the run-up to the 2016 general elections, but I have started.
Free senior high school no abe enkobio ye ba be die sa ama nibie yama kwan ama Ghana fo manyina enya kwan akọ school.
The free senior high school policy will be sustained and improved in the coming years. We will ensure every Ghanaian child gets access to education and also provide jobs for our people.
Then we am education to me about on my Ghana.
And the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, says government's 2018 budget will fully cover all expenses under the free senior high school policy next year. JoyNews agenda last week revealed serious challenges in the implementation of the free SHS policy across the country. But according to the Vice President, the government has taken note of these initial challenges in the implementation of the policy and will ultimately continue liaising with stakeholders in the educational sector to find a lasting solution to the challenges. He was speaking at the speech and prize giving day of Infantipim School.
According to the Vice President, the increase in the admission intake due to the free senior high school policy excites government. Dr. Bawumia argues the turnout of events fits into the rationale behind the implementation of the policy. He says government is not oblivious of the challenges that have rocked the implementation process and would make the policy implementation a smooth sailing one in the coming academic year.
In the first year of the implementation of the free SHS, we have already achieved an increase of over 90,000 students in the intake to senior high schools. Madam Chairman, our country's economic growth depends heavily on the quality of our human capital. Therefore, despite the initial challenges in implementing the free senior high school policy, government remains firm in its conviction that we will surmount all the hurdles. Our approach will be holistic, effective, relevant, and consistent. We will continue to work to improve all aspects of our secondary education in order to create the much-needed paradigm shift and realign it with our developmental aspirations as a country. We will track our progress to ensure that we stick to the predetermined objectives of the free SHS policy.
The Vice President hinted that Ghanaians would hear in the budget that is expected to be read by the Finance Minister on Wednesday that government has found money for the free senior high school policy and assured the finances of the policy implementation won't be a problem for government because government has made it a priority.
Many people have wondered, is this sustainable? Can you finance free SHS going forward? Well, the answer is simple. We cannot afford not to finance free SHS as a country. We can't afford. We have to change the paradigm. You have to put your country's resources in your priority areas. It's that simple. And so you will hear the budget read on Wednesday by the Finance Minister. and you will see that free SHS has been fully budgeted for in 2018. And this is how it's going to be. It's going to be fully budgeted for every year because it's a priority. And government has indicated that that should be the case.
The 141st anniversary of Infantipim School, sponsored by the 1987 year group, saw many past students of Infantipim who are making huge impacts in Ghana and across the globe in attendance. Richard Kwejonyakon, Joy News, Cape Coast.
Well, we have to turn our attention to health, and experts in the Ashanti region have cautioned the public against killing suspected rabies-infected dogs for food. The Bosomtwe District Director of Health, Dr. Moses Berry-Majimete, says such tendencies hamper investigations into deaths caused by rabies. Prince Appiah has more in the following report.
On that fateful day at Pramso in the Bosomtwe district of the Ashanti region, 15-year-old Eric Kojogbadievi's dog behaved in an unusually strange manner. It attacked and bit its owner, who paid little attention to what he considered a minor scratch with potentially grave consequences.
Now, a baby 3 days in
For 3 days, the dog refused to eat. I came back from school one of the days. The dog was aggressive and bit me. Unlike Eric's small physical wound, 5-year-old innocent boy Kevin Bedu suffered a deep cut close to the knee as the dog virtually tore his skin off. The dog bit Kelvin when he came to our compound on an errand. The dog was acting very unusual and aggressive. I recaptured the dog into its cage. Before we realized, it had damaged the cage and had died in the process. 35 incidents of dog bites have been recorded as at the end of last month, when reported cases for the whole of 2016 stood at 72. Dr. Berry-Majimete laments in most cases owners of aggressive pets kill them on the blind side of health authorities. He says that makes it impossible to have saliva samples for rabies tests in the laboratory. Health officials await lab results from the roasted head of the dog as little Kevin continued to receive treatment at the St. Michael's Catholic Hospital. 31-year-old father Kwekumenu is worried.
Since Wednesday,
my son has not been in school because he cannot walk. That is my worry. Prince Appiah reporting.
And the Ghana Medical Association has given government a 6-month ultimatum to address challenges regarding the conditions of service of its members. The association has accused government of failing to abide by a ruling of the National Labour Commission, which urged government to pay market premium as a percentage of the basic salary of members. It is threatening an industrial action if government refuses to meet expectations before April 30, 2018. The ultimatum forms part of a resolution issued at the end of the GMA's 59th Annual General Conference that took place in Kumasi. Dr. Frank Srebo is a vice president of the association.
The Ghana Medical Association at the end of the conference elected new executives to serve the association for the next 2 years. They are 1, Dr. Frank Ankobia, myself as the president. Dr. Frank Srebo, vice president. Dr. Justice Yankson, general secretary. Dr. Titus Bayu, Assistant General Secretary, Dr. Miriam Wakukuma, Treasurer, Dr. Elizabeth A.C. Krenzel, Executive Member, Female, Dr. Edward Frimpong Boateng, Executive Member, Male, DCOP, Dr. Ebenezer Ewusi Emim, therefore becomes the immediate past president.
Meanwhile, new executives have been elected to lead the association for the next 2 years as the tenure of DCOP Dr. Ebenezer Ewusienim comes to an end. Dr. Nkobia, who we just saw in that video, is the new president of the association.
And so we are saying that we are giving government the 30th of April to see to the implementation of the full document as well as other related matters, i.e. our market premium and conversion difference, so that we can all have a peaceful industrial environment. So I think the ball is in the court of government, and it's interesting that the things that are left, especially on the conditional service, are not major issues that has got anything to do with finances. Most of them are supposed to even do with administrative fiats that the minister probably will just have to instruct the various health facilities that, look, when doctors are sick, per their condition of service, beyond health insurance, they are supposed to be taken care of. If their spouses are sick, beyond health insurance, they are supposed to be taken care of. But that is not happening. Postgraduate training, doctors are still being asked to pay school fees. Meanwhile, in the condition of service, it's stated clearly that when you are in postgraduate training and the costs are approved, you don't have to pay school fees. So we believe that those things are things that the government can easily do. In actual fact, we had several meetings with the Minister of Health, and he has promised to write letters to that effect, but it's not happened. So we are simply saying that, look, we can't continue, because in as much as the document expires next year, November, what it means is that we will even have to start negotiations before the document expires. So we believe that 30th April is fair, and that if by that time no movement is made to implement the document in full, then we have every right to also take decisions that we believe would help us achieve same.
Well, let's move on. And sustainable development Goal 4 cannot be realized without government support for private schools. That is the position of educationists and the head of the Department of Settlement Studies at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Dr. Divina Haji. Though he admits private schools operate in privileged communities, others also operate in disadvantaged areas and could therefore be classified as socially responsible. He was speaking at an event to mark the Silver Jubilee of the St. Michael's Preparatory and Junior High Schools in Kumasi.
Government's investment in education has increased in the past 2 decades. Unfortunately, government's poverty alleviation strategies are targeted mainly at public schools. Dr. Haji believes extension of government's interventions to particularly schools in underprivileged communities has therefore become necessary.
Between 1999 to 2005, the percentage growth of private schools was 33%, as against a mere 4.3% to the public schools. Mr. Chairman, thus, whilst it is true that some private schools operate in privileged communities and could be classified as elite schools, it is worth noting that many private schools are also operating in disadvantaged communities and could therefore be classified as being socially responsive schools. Such schools surely need to be supported as part of government's poverty alleviation strategies currently targeted at only public schools.
Established in 1992 with 24 pupils, St. Michael's Preparatory and Junior High is the only private school in Bomso Sesechi, a largely lower middle-class community. The school, with a current population of 620, attracts pupils from Bomso and neighboring communities. Head teacher of the school, Daniel Ama Ashite, appeals to parents to regulate their walls on the use of the social media.
In this modern dispensation, the social media plays an important role and aids in any educational pursuit. Conversely, it undermines and hampers one's progress when it is used negatively. I wish to avail this opportunity to appeal to parents to be mindful and guide their children in their use of the media, such as the television programs, the internet, among others. They should not sacrifice all their productive study period for this media.
Reporting for JoyNews, Kwesi Deborah.
And that's it for the latest news update we have. We have a lot more news. We have a couple of stories on the front and back pages of the various newspapers, and then we'll look at stories also featured on the various online portals. Well, we have to tell you, please enjoy this. When we come back, we'll be doing those reviews so soon.